Hi, Karen.
Hello. Can you hear me?
You said title IMC Women in Focus. You're not in focus. Why are you here?
Oh wow. Wow, at sushi. That was really cold.
I was joking. Also, I heard that every female on you except Jess, was in focus.
Mm, yeah,
Or at least traded for focus before.
yeah. That sounds like it could be correct.
Does Harvard student get Monday off?
Mm, I think
Yeah, we
so.
have President's Day weekend this weekend.
That's nice.
Sorry, I'm pulling the PowerPoint up now. How do I select the screen that I want to share? Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that we're ready to get started. If you guys are.
Sounds good. Welcome everyone to IMC Women in Focus. We have a really great panel today. Today we'll be hearing from three people from IMC discussing some of the work that female traders and engineers at IMC are doing, as well as learning a bit more about the unique culture of IMC and the trading industry. So we'll be hearing from three panelists today, from Karen Chen, from Atsushi Hu, and from Anne Olmsted. And so I'll let them take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, welcome, guys. I can't really see anything right now because I have my screen shared, but let me know if at any point you can't see the PowerPoint that we have up. Our plan is to run through this quick IMC overview PowerPoint. We'll run through some trading games that Karen and Atsushi will lead, and then we'll definitely leave time at the end, probably around 15 or 20 minutes for Q&A. We do have some questions planned, but also would love for you guys to ask questions so that we can answer anything that you guys might have in your mind. So yeah, to kick it off, we'll start off with some quick introductions. So I'm Anne. I'm a university recruiting coordinator here at IMC. I've been with IMC for about 3 years now, working on the campus recruiting team. I graduated from University of Illinois and previously worked at a recruiting firm in Chicago. And then my fun fact, I live across from the Lincoln Park Zoo right now.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm a graduate trader at IMC. I graduated from Harvard last May, and I interned at IMC last summer. I joined full-time this past August, and my fun fact is I became licensed to drive a jet ski last summer.
Love that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Xingchun, but I usually go by Atsushi. And I'm also a graduate trader at IMC. And I graduated and went to Duke, studied math and CS. And I joined the same time with Karen, which was like last year, August, except that I never interned at IMC before. And I was born in China and I grew up in Singapore. So I lived in some different countries for quite many years. And fun fact is that at the beginning of COVID, I just like live in this Airbnb apartment and never stepped out of the house for like 4 months.
Wow. All right. Okay, so we'll kick it off about IMC a little bit of background. So IMC started in 1989 as a floor trading firm in Amsterdam, which is our headquarters. In 2000, we did expand globally and we opened our Chicago office. We're still in the same building to this day. We're in the Willis Tower, or some people may know it as the Sears Tower in Chicago. In 2002, expanded even more and opened our office in Sydney. And in 2019, we celebrated 30 years of IMC. So obviously that was a really big celebration. Definitely, part of IMC's culture is kind of a work hard, play hard mentality. So it was really fun to celebrate with all of our colleagues together. Additionally, with kind of this celebration, and then now in the past couple of years, we've also been able to renovate our office in this Willis Tower. So that's been great. The office is complete now. So we have the 42nd and 43rd floor in the Willis Tower, all totally brand new. We added like a bunch of cool new things too. So we have been loving that. Okay, and then our different locations. So you'll see some different points on the map here. The main ones that we'll focus on are Chicago, Amsterdam, and Sydney. These are the offices that we do hire for. So starting out with Chicago, there's the most activity in Chicago, so we do have the most employees and traders and technologists sitting in our Chicago office. So we have probably closer to like 400 plus employees in the Chicago office now. We've been growing quite a bit lately, so that's been very exciting. Next up are our headquarters in Amsterdam, sitting around like 250 employees. And then finally, Sydney. Our APAC office has about 150 employees. So our US office in Chicago is our largest office at this point. You'll see that Hong Kong and Shanghai are also listed on the map here. Those are not offices that we hire for, but just some data centers that we have in those different areas. So our 3 main offices that we hire for are, again, Chicago, Amsterdam, and Sydney. And we'll specifically be, of course, talking about Chicago today. Okay, so briefly, my portion on trading before Karen and Atsushi give you the actual info. So IMC is a market maker, and we trade all of these major exchange traded products. We have 3 trading desks in the US at this point. So we have our F1 desk, which is FIC, options, and ETFs. And then we have our equity options desk and our index options desk as well. Okay, briefly touching on technology, of course, as it's really important at IMC, obviously, to always, stay on the cutting edge of any new technology and constantly be evolving here. So obviously, we have our software team, we have our hardware team, and then we have some different, projects that we work on just to stay on the forefront, be faster, of course, in any different ways that we can. So software focusing on performance, scalability, availability, hardware determining, how to get the lowest latency, how to be, the fastest, and our FPGA chip, of course. And then some of these different things that you'll see down here that are always works in progress, like working with microwaves and infrared and lasers and things like that, just trying to see how we can be fastest. Okay, and then opportunities at IMC. So we do hire at a graduate level for our global traineeship. So you would be coming in as a graduate. You would go through 6 to 8 weeks of classroom training as part of the traineeship. That would be taught by IMC traders, quant researchers, and developers. You would be working alongside new hires from all of our global offices, so from Amsterdam and Sydney as well. Typically, a portion of this program is hosted in Amsterdam or Sydney, but of course, with current conditions in the pandemic, it kind of is dependent on what's the safest option there. So has been local for the past couple of years. And then classroom training is followed by your 4 months of more formal onboarding. So that is what our global traineeship looks like if you're coming in as a graduate in either February or August. Those are usually our 2 intake times per year. And then our internship, we have a summer internship at this point that is a 10-week program where you would be working alongside traders and developers, of course, from IMC, and then also the cohort of other interns. Our internship is heavily focused on mentorship, lots of training, opportunity. You're working on real projects, you're solving real business problems, which is super exciting about our internship. And then there's also a variety of really cool social and networking events. They've gone to Cubs games in the past and concerts and different things like that, workout classes, lots of fun stuff. And then of course, we always have ample headcount to extend full-time offers, hopefully to all interns, that are meeting IMC's expectations. So always looking to, hire people through our internship program since they're gaining some really valuable experience in those 10 weeks. Okay, and then currently what we're looking like now, so we do have 3 roles that we're actively recruiting on for an August hire date, so an August 2022 hire date this summer. The first one is our graduate broker trader role. So this is a Chicago-based role with an August 2022 start date. This role is a little bit different than our quantitative trader role. It's more so focused on, building and fostering relationships, more of that side of trading. So it's a little bit less technically focused than our quantitative trader role. But we're looking for an individual with business, finance, economics degree, typically is what we see in this role. We also are still recruiting for our graduate software engineer opportunities starting in Chicago with an August 2022 start date. Key skills here would be strong knowledge of algorithms, data structures. If you have experience in Java and or C++, that's extremely helpful as well. It can be either one of those. You don't have to have one specifically. And then graduate systems engineer finally also has that August 2022 start date here in Chicago. This is a focus on Python scripting, experience with big data technologies, and then hopefully some experience with Linux operating systems as well. So these are the roles that we're currently hiring for. However, we are going to kick off hiring for our summer 2023 internship as well as our fall 2023 opportunities as well. So if you're interested in any of those and your graduation dates line up with those sorts of opportunities, you can join our talent community. The link is listed here, but if you just Google IMC talent community, it'll come up. So that's a great way to stay engaged with IMC and then also learn about our opportunities right when they open. But for any of these 3 roles that are open now, they are posted on our website. So that'll be the best way to apply. We'll just be in the career section of the IMC website. Okay, and then we'll wrap it up with some of the cool bonus perks of working at IMC. We do have lunch every day in the office. So when you're working in the office, you have a lunch stipend. You're able to order lunch from, some different options of, businesses around the office. That gets delivered directly to the office. So you're able to just pick it up right in the kitchen, which is super nice and very easy, especially being on the, 42nd and 43rd floor of the Willis Tower. You don't have to leave at all, which is great. While we're working from home, we've also been receiving a stipend just for like DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, so that you're able to order your lunch that way. So making it work. We also have free breakfast and snacks, always a fully stocked kitchen, lots of food at IMC. We do have weekly massages, which is very cool. You're able to get, sign up and get massages during the week, which is a nice little break in your day. Working in the Sears Tower or the Willis Tower, really cool building, also has been very recently updated as well. So there's an awesome food court at the bottom. And it's just, it's a really, really cool building in Chicago to work in. Typically, depending on the situation, you are able to get some of that global exposure with some training in another office. But overall, lots of global collaboration, and it's definitely something that we leverage as a company at IMC. So very exciting to have, our counterparts in Sydney and Amsterdam. If you're an intern, you do have, of course, your apartment in Chicago that IMC will be, getting for you, which is awesome. You're able to, live alongside other interns, live in Chicago, like live in a really cool neighborhood, close to the office, and get kind of the full experience that way. Company trips. Typically, we do an annual company trip. In the past, in working at IMC, like I've gone to Vegas with the whole IMC, cohort and things like that. So, always looking into different places that we can go. Obviously, when it's safe to do so. So hopefully soon we'll be able to go on another trip. Employee appreciation days. Trading for charity. So definitely, a big focus at IMC is giving back. So this is a day of trading where all of the proceeds from that day will go to an organization that is decided on globally. So currently we've been working with an organization called Room to Read, which is a literacy foundation. So that's a really awesome thing that everyone is involved in, at IMC, is that day of trading and all of the profits going to that organization. So very cool, but lots of other ways to get involved in terms of giving back. Friday happy hours, just different kind of events or fun things with your team or with other teams at IMC. Always a good way to kind of get to know people a little bit outside of work. We do now have an in-office barista, which is super cool. You can grab a coffee right when you come in, or really anytime during the day, I think until 2 p.m. So that's super nice. And then I'm going to pass it over to Karen, I believe. She'll kind of kick us off with this first slide.
Hi, Anne. Thanks so much. So just to introduce myself again, I'm Karen, and I'll be talking a little bit about IMC from the trading side. So what does IMC as a high-frequency trading company actually do? And there are a couple things that we do. The first thing is we provide liquidity. So imagine that you are someone in the market and you want to buy a product or you want to sell a product, but no one else is willing to sell to you or buy from you. And what IMC does is we will sit on the other side of that trade. And so if you want to buy something, we will sell it to you. And what that does is that helps facilitate trading. The other thing we do is we will work on accurately pricing different financial instruments. And that's important because we need to accurately determine theoretical prices of different instruments to be able to profitably trade around these theoretical prices. In other words, we would want to buy for less than the theoretical price and sell for higher than the theoretical price. And if you don't know how much something costs, you might end up buying it for too high a price or selling it for too low a price. Finally, the last thing that we do is we want to hit on profitable opportunities. Extremely profitable opportunities only show up every so often, and when they do, it's definitely a race to hit those opportunities to see who can be first. So it's extremely important to, number one, correctly know what you want to hit for. And this again ties back to having good pricing, because if you know how much something is worth, you will also know how profitable that opportunity is. And number two, you want to be the fastest to trade against these very high profit orders. Then what do traders do? So we can think of traders as having operational duties and more research/project duties. So on the operational side, traders will watch day-to-day trading. They make sure that we stay within risk limits. They're also going to be changing different toggles within our system in real time to react to market events and changing market conditions. For example, if news comes out, then market conditions are going to change, and we are going to have to react to this during the day. And if something goes wrong during the day in our system, we are going to have to fix it. On the research side, these traders are developing algorithms and models, and they're backtesting them on historical data. They are working with devs or developers in order to implement these models and algorithms. And they also do data analysis in order to try to find trends in the data. And this could be to try to understand what our competitor strategies are, or to try to understand the strengths and weaknesses of our own system when it actually is trading against other people in the market. These projects can range from days to weeks to months. So what do we do at IMC? We are market makers, and we are also market takers. So on the market making side, we create liquidity, meaning we are offering the prices to buy and sell. And again, the whole idea is you want to buy low and you want to sell at a high price. So on the market making side, we are making the spread. And what the spread is, for example, we may buy a product for $5 and we sell the product for $7. In this case, the spread is going to be the $2 that we make. And in this example that I just mentioned, you're holding this position for a very short period of time because you buy it, and then after a very short time, you sell the product. And after you sell the product, you are risk-free. On the other side, on the market taking side, other people are offering the prices to buy and sell. And if someone else is offering a price to buy, then we will sell to them at their price. And this is taking liquidity. So in this type of situation, as I mentioned before, hitting profitable opportunities is a very latency sensitive game. We might want to take liquidity here instead of creating liquidity because we might want to reduce risk by closing out our position. We also sometimes might have opinions on price movements as well. For example, someone says they want to sell something for $7 and we think that the price of this product is going to go up. So we buy it and we wait for the price to go up and we earn money from the price movement there.
Next, I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more about market making. And can you go? Okay, can you go to the previous slide? Yeah, this will be good. Thank you. So, what is market making? If you go to any like Wikipedia or Google it will tell you just like market making is an activity of providing codes to buy and sell some tradable asset. And the idea of tradable asset can like be very can cover a lot of things such as like a stock, an option, some ETF, some bond, or it can be anything that is a human construct. Like we can also trade on the number of ski resorts in the world. So it can be anything that we have some sort of number attached to it. And for IMC specifically, we trade like a range of financial instruments. And what goes into market making can be vaguely divided into three sections. The first is valuation, second is risk management, and third is execution. So what is valuation? The first is what Karen has mentioned before, is that we want to find the theoretical value of something, and it's gonna be impossible if you are like if you don't have a good theoretical value. You can't make a two-sided market around something. For example, if we are making market around the number of countries in the world, we are not going to make a market around 10. We want to be in the order of hundreds. And apart from having theoretical value, we also want to have sort of uncertainty, because barely anyone can say that we are 100% certain about something. And there is always some uncertainty goes into your valuation. For example, and when we are doing two-sided market making, we want to leave some room to be inaccurate and to be something uncertain. And the second will be risk management. So in the ideal world of market making, we always want to do two-sided trading, and we want to be flat, so we don't really have any risk. And the risk can literally be anything, such as like Russia and Ukraine going to war tomorrow, or it can, and like in the beginning of 2020, like COVID start, and the SPX index just dropped a lot. And these are all the risks in the market. And there can also be risks such as the trading system go out of power. So, so market makers have to be very aware of the potential risks going on. And sometimes we can build into positions that carry a substantial amount of risks. And we have to think about how to manage the risk and how to be as little exposed to the risk as possible. And the last thing is going to be execution. So as we mentioned, there are like many profitable opportunities in the financial market, and we want to be fast to get all the profitable opportunities. And apart from like being fast in execution, we also want to do it in the smart way. For example, if someone comes in with one contract of something that is very profitable, and we may want to be the fast and take it. But if someone is coming in with 1 million contract of something that appears to be profitable, we want to rethink whether we want to take the order, and we want to execute in a way that is where we can both make money for it and be little exposed to the risks.
So what is position taking? There are a couple different aspects: pattern recognition, risk taking, and backtesting, and I'll be talking about these on the next few slides. So for pattern recognition, while you're doing data analysis, you might see certain patterns in the data that repeat. And once you find yourself in a similar situation as what you've seen historically, you might use what has happened historically to try to predict or inform what you think what will happen in the future. For example, if you see that in historical data, often after the yield curve inverts, you think that it's likely that a recession will occur, then maybe at this time, when you see the yield curve inverting, you will think, okay, I have some opinion that markets are going to downtrend. And so this prediction can give you some sort of opinion. And with this opinion, you might take on a position, i.e., you might, for example, sell products that are correlated with the S&P 500. And so you will hold this position because you have this belief that markets are going to downtrend. Then on the risk-taking side, the position that I mentioned just now is risky because you're subject to a lot of price movement. What if, the S&P 500 actually shoots up, and this maybe is unexpected, but is also something that you don't really have control of. And so when you are making money as a market maker off of the bid-ask spread, you buy for $5, you sell for $7, and then after that, you're left with no position and no risk. But here, if you're buying something for $5 and you hold on to it and you hope that the price will just go up, then there is risk there. And there is a trade-off between risk and reward. So in position taking, there is more risk, but there also is more reward. When you're just making money off the bid-ask spread, you make exactly the spread each time. But in this situation, if you buy the product that is worth $5, when you buy it and then it goes up to $15, then you've made $10. So there's more profit and opportunity available as well. Finally, we want to backtest our hypotheses on historical data in order to be confident in the opinions that we have that we use to hold positions. For example, with the yield curve, we can look at historical data. And this is in order to generate confidence in our opinion. And we need confidence to trade off of our opinions because of the risk that we're taking. And you should use and quantitative reasoning, i.e. the data says this makes sense. And due to my financial or trader intuition, I also think it makes sense to reason why a certain position will be profitable.
Okay, I think that we're going to do this market making activity now, and Karen and Atsushi will kind of kick it off, and then we'll open it up to you guys a little bit as well. I actually can't see the chat since I'm sharing my screen. So Karen and Atsushi, if you see people like responding in there, like feel free to facilitate with those people.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not sure how you can how this can be interactive. Is it the chat the only way people can participate in this game?
Yeah, I think that we're the only ones that have the audio video capability.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I will just run through this game and some example, and we can people can post their replies in the chat. So let's play some market making activities. That is, as we introduced just now, a market maker is someone who provides code to buy and sell about something, and this something can be anything that has some sort of number associated with it. And for example, we can make a market around the number of hot dogs eaten at the Wrigley Field in 2019, which is a football field. And there are some steps you want to go through before you provide your market. So first is you have to think about your theoretical value. And this can be just like a vaguely guess. And the second thing is estimate your uncertainty to take enough credit. And I guess many of you don't have a great idea of the exact number, so you want to have some sort of leave some room around it. And the language we're using for market making can be pretty simple. So let's say if we want to buy something for $5 and we are happy to sell something for $10, or it can be any unit. We will say we are 5 at 10, and this will be the language we are using to do this market making activity. And next slide, please. So yeah, I will just walk through how do we come up with this theoretical value and come up with the uncertainty. For example, I know there are 80 home games, which I personally don't know, and this is a slide telling me, so I will just take it as a choose. And there are around 40 people at each one. So we would guess there have been 3.2 million people session, and we will guess that the number of people eat hot dog. Maybe I will assume a third of people will eat a hot dog, which I can be very wrong here. Maybe it is half, and maybe only 1 out of 5 people will eat hot dog. But just make sure you have the some sort of reasonable guess. And if we say a third of people will eat a hot dog, so my theoretical value is 1.1 million. And however, I'm pretty uncertain about the portion of people eat hot dog. For example, I can be uncertain about the number of home games, and I can be uncertain about the number of people in each home game. Maybe there are some really bad days, and only half of the field is filled. So I want to take a lot of credit to compensate for my uncertainty. So maybe I will make a market saying I will make a market with an uncertainty about 0.3 million. So my market will be 0.8 million at 1.4 million. Yeah.
I think
Anyone want to trade on this market? Karen, do you want to buy or sell?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I also don't have a ton of knowledge about this, but I mean, 40,000 people at a game seems like a lot. So, yeah, maybe I will sell to you.
Okay, sure. And do you want to buy? If Karen sold to me, and so I bought from Karen and sold to someone else, I will be collecting the spread. That's a pretty sweet deal. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. And it turns out that based on some sort of stats, again, I'm not sure who are collecting these numbers, but seems that the market will settle to 1.2 mil. Yeah. So
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty good market.
yeah. And I mean, of course, it's a good market because I look at the slides beforehand. So I'm some sort of bad counterparty to trade against. Yeah, we can go to the next. We can have some real questions where I'm not sure about the answer. So, what is a record for the most socks put on in a minute? And yeah, we can just let's do the number of single socks, not the pair of socks. So anyone has some sort of opinion can put a market in the chat, and I will provide an example market in the chat. I will be 0 at 200, extremely wide market. And I am not sure if anyone can put on more than 200 stocks in a minute. Maybe they can.
Yeah, so you can also
hope
put a one-sided market in the chat, i.e. if you think that maybe it's more than 30, but you don't know how large it actually is, maybe you are just bid 30.
Yeah. So if you want to buy something, you want to provide codes to buy, you will say let's say if you think it's more than 30, you can say it's like your 30 bid. And if you think it's less than 100, you can say at 100. Yeah. So make sure when you are sending the codes to the chat, you are sending using the proper language.
Yeah, so please
So-
say what side you're on, whether if you say a number like 100, whether you are bid 100, i.e. you think the record for most stocks put on in a minute is greater than 100, or you are at 100, meaning you're willing to sell 100, so you think the record for most stocks put on in a minute is less than 100.
Can we have some more codes, more potential market makers coming?
Yeah, and for those who have already put in their quotes, if you could tag it with what side your quote is on, that'd be really helpful as well.
So I saw someone putting in the market of 0 at 250, which is a great market, and except that I already have a market of 0 at 200. So if there are any trade happening, it will trade at the best price available first.
Yeah, so it looks like someone has put in an offer for 70. So looks like the market on the ask side has tightened to at 70. And again, for those who are putting just single numbers, for example, if you think that it's probably around 50, but you're not sure, maybe you could provide a market, like maybe it's 30 at 70, just so you should have some uncertainty. Unless, of course, you know exactly how many stocks are put on in a minute, in which case you can make your market tighter.
Yeah, I see Nico putting in the chat saying 50. Do you want to buy 50 or do you want to sell 50? Yeah, again, and we see the best offer in the market right now is 70, because I'm not taking account into the single numbers results side. So, okay.
To clarify the language, so we will have bid at ask. So, for example, if I'm willing to buy for 10 and I'm willing to sell for 80, that's going to be 10 at 80. And that means that I think that the theoretical value of the record for most socks put on in a minute is between 10 and 80.
And for the single-sided market, so if I think the theoretical value is more than 30, I will say 30 bid. If I think the theoretical value, the true value will be below 80, I would say at 80. Yeah, I hope this clarifies. And yeah, we are seeing good markets coming in.
Yeah, I
So
see an extremely tight market, 51 at 53. So this person seems like they are very confident about how many socks were put on in a minute.
and we have not seen any cross market yet. So by a cross market, I mean someone's bid will be higher than someone's offer. So if someone is happy to sell like at 50, and we see that the best bid in the market is 51, this is a cross market and the trade will happen.
I think something else really cool is happening here, which is as more people put in their markets, more people are updating to, markets around similar to what other people think the theoretical value is. So I think that if other people are placing markets where it seems like they think that the record is around 50 or 70, then other people are now also updating their markets to be centered around somewhere between 50 and 70.
Hey Karen, I see there is some cross market. Someone is happy to buy 60, and what's the best offer? The best offer in the market is to sell at
Is it
50.
53?
50.
Oh,
Lisa
50.
put it at 50.
Mm, okay.
Yes. And we will make it a price time exchange. So it will actually be actually the trade will happen at 50. Yeah. So given the trade happen, do you want to go to the next? Should we go to the next slide and review the answer?
Oh, that's very close. So the actual value of our contract was 52 socks were put on in a minute. So for the person who bought for 50, you made $2 because you bought something worth 52 for $50. And if you sold for 50, unfortunately, you lost $2, but the actual value of the contract is actually very close to the price that you traded at. So I will say that this was pretty successful for both sides.
Yeah, and an additional thing is that if you want to interact with an existing markets in the chat, you can say, you can probably like want to write down the name and say, if you want to lift the offer, you can say mine. If you want to hit the bid, that is, you want to sell to the person who are buying, you can say yours. So let's say, yeah, I would just like see, for example, someone was bidding 60 or 64, but you already see there is of offer at 50 in the market, you can just like type the name and say mine because you want to buy for 50. Yeah. So yeah, let's go through another game.
Cool.
What is the most people in Mini Cooper? This is a fun one. Anyone want to? Oh, 60 at 60. Okay, this is interesting because we are seeing someone having like bid the same as offer. Looks like you are very confident in the number 60, which I'm very impressed. Anyone want to interact with this market?
Also, even if you know for sure that the answer to this question is 60, you still probably want to incorporate some of a bid-ask spread, for example, 50 at 70, because then you can make the spread potentially. Or if someone trades against you, in this case, maybe you're buying for 60, but if you were 50 at 70, maybe you could buy for 50 and make an extra $10 there. I've also clarified the hit the bid, lift the offer language that Atsushi was talking about in the chat, if that's helpful.
These are
So I
very
see-
tight markets.
Yeah, 25 at 30, 26 at 28.
So if someone disagree with the market, you want to be the fastest one to lift the offer. That is, you are happy to buy 28. You may also want to sell for 26. That is called hit the bid. And yeah, so we are making assumptions that this offer will be available for, like, this quote will be for one unit. If you are not the fastest person, you will have to interact with worst price.
Ooh, okay. We see someone
Ooh.
lifting the 28 offer. Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the next best offer in the market would be 30. Hit a bid at 60. Just to make sure, like, is the 60 at 60 bid for this particular question? Hit a bid at
Yeah, so I think that if the 60 at 60 market were valid, it would have already traded against the 25 at 30, because the second person would have sold for 30. I mean, would have sold for 60, and then the first person would have bought for 60. But because it was such a tight market, I think at Sushi and I were hoping that maybe a wider market would be a little more conducive towards the game. But we do see someone lifting at 28. So we see someone is going to sell at 28, and then the person who lifted is going to buy for 28.
So the tightest market right now is 26 at 60. Does anyone understand why the tightest market is 26 at 60? Because, like, the 28, the 30 to sell will interact with the 60 bid, and hit a bid at 7. I don't think anyone was bidding for 70, unfortunately. Can we have more markets coming in? Okay, we have 60 at 80.
So for Kavya, are you trying to change your market to 60 at 70, or are you...
Okay, so her market is still 60 at 60, except the hit, the 60 bid. So we will honor her first market 60 at 60, but that has already interacted with the 25 at 30 market because 60 is greater than 30, and that would have already traded. And yeah, so unfortunately, the 60 bid is no longer available. And yeah, but now we see that someone is happy to buy 50 at buy 50, and that would yes. So the tightest market right now will be 50 at 60. Yeah. Unfortunately, the 30 offer was trading with the 60 bid at the beginning. So the tightest market right, and we see someone coming in happy to buy for 60. So the tightest market right now is actually 50 at 70.
Yeah, I do think Shruti has the right idea here, where Shruti wanted to lift at 28 and hit 60 originally. And so Shruti is able to make the spread between those, which is 32. And this is going to be a risk-free trade.
So lift means you want to buy at the price of the offer. And the tightest market right now is 50 at 70. So if you want to say lifted, means that you are happy to buy at the price of 70. Yeah, but I am very impressed that people think there can be this many people in Mini Cooper. Yeah, do you want to go to just for the sake because we don't have many time left? Let's wrap up this game. Oh,
28.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we've seen some good trading happening.
Awesome.
Everyone who saw this probably pretty happy. Yeah. So let's. Okay, should we go to the Q&A session?
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, nice job, guys. Thank you so much for participating in that. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and we'll use Q&A attention so that you guys can ask some questions. We do have some questions pre-planned if we want to kick it off with those. We can start there, and then if you guys want to drop some questions in the chat, we can do that. So maybe we'll just start off with this first question just to kind of get things going. So Atsushi and Karen, whoever wants to take this one, what are the day-to-day responsibilities of a quant trader at IMC?
I can go first for this question. For a day-to-day responsibility, usually because IMC has a pretty automated way of trading, we'll look at we'll make sure everything is running on well. But that being said, every day the market is a different market from yesterday, and the system is built in a fixed way. We definitely have to make a lot of changes to make the system do the trade we want, behave in the way we want, and try to make the most money from based on the market conditions of particular day. So that's pretty operational basis. And we also see there are some interesting trades that or interesting scenario that there is no easy existing way to react to it. We'll also try to make some longer term changes to the system and do some sort of more statistical analysis based on the data and assess how much money we can make from there and make the changes accordingly. Yeah, so on a day-to-day basis, probably go to the office somewhere between 7:30 and 8 and try to make sure things are running well. And this is Central Time, so it would be correspond to 8:30 between 8:30 and 9. That is half an hour to an hour before the open. And the post-open will try to do more analysis and just review the trading for that day and discuss ideas with other traders, because we do believe that things happens here can maybe applied somewhere else later.
Yeah, in addition to that, sometimes you'll look at specific examples of trades that you've done during the trading day, and sometimes the effects will be unexpected or sometimes undesired, and we will look more deeply into these specific examples and say, okay, what are all the parts of our system that led us to make this trade? And sometimes this can motivate, again, longer term projects or changes in the system. And so sometimes during the day, we'll have meetings with developers in order to talk about how these changes should be implemented in our system.
Awesome. Okay, I'm seeing some questions about international students. And yes, you can apply if you are an international student for our roles at IMC.
Yeah, so
I think oh, go ahead.
I am
sorry.
an international student myself. I'm international student myself, so yeah, there IMC sponsors H1B lottery, and you can work on OPT or like using CPT for like internships.
And then I'm also seeing some questions about a remote internship. Right now, our internship programs are in person. They are not remote. And then I think I saw another question. 2024 grad, yes, you can apply for our internships. And then I saw a question about work-life balance, I feel like somewhere. If you guys want to keep the questions maybe in the chat, it might be easier just to keep them all in one place. Let's see. I guess like Karen and Atsushi, if you maybe want to like touch a little bit on work-life balance at IMC and what that's like.
Yeah, for sure. So we just talked a little bit about the more day-to-day work responsibilities that we have, but I would say that there definitely is pretty good work-life balance. The typical day is maybe like eight to six, I would say, Central Time. And then after that, sometimes, coworkers will get dinner together. Now that, we've seen hopefully COVID cases go down a little, we've been able to have more social events among teams, which has been really fun. And yeah, I will say that I think IMC is a place where you are working hard during the day, but then, as Anne said before, it's a work hard, play hard mentality. And we definitely do have a lot of fun with each other after work as well.
Yeah, I guess I pretty much don't have much to add on, other than what Karen have said. We entered the firm at the same time, so I guess this work-life balance, I don't have much to complain about work-life balance at IMC. Probably much better than some of our competitors.
Awesome. I think so. I see a question. What are the skills to be focused on? So maybe this is, maybe guys could talk a little bit about like skills that you felt were like most beneficial for interviewing at IMC. If we want to start there, I think that maybe that's what they mean in terms of like applicants coming into IMC.
Yeah, for sure. So on the trading side, I'll say an understanding of probability is pretty important. So statistics and probability. Usually this ties in with people who have studied math or statistics or computer science. And I also think that on the trading side, it is helpful to come in with some knowledge of coding. Although I think if you get the internship offer and you want to brush up on your coding before the internship, you also have a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, just to add on, like for most technical skills, I would say Bayesian probability like, is especially important. And but other than that, other than just like very field specific knowledge, I think the ability to think critically and think through the problem clearly is like essential skills to either interviewing or the day-to-day job. But I guess I would say coding is definitely not a prereq because we have some one of the trainees entering the same time has like zero coding background and he is doing well.
Awesome. You don't need previous internship experience to apply. And I think that there was some over here. The internship is paid, yes. I'm seeing a lot of questions around visas. Yeah. We are able to sponsor visas like we mentioned. And then obviously like this is case by case. So if that is your situation, obviously apply and we'll be able to help you through that. Are there any other questions that you guys have for Karen and Atsushi while they're in here? Yes, 2024 grads can apply for internships. The graduation dates for the internship program that we will kind of be looking at are, I guess, like December 2023 grads, as well as spring or summer 2024 grads. So our internship program will take place from June to August in 2023. So if you're graduating kind of right after that point and able to join for our traineeship the following year in 2024, that's kind of what we would be looking to see there. Internships, we do not have open applications for at this point now, but I'll drop that link in again for the talent community. And if you guys want to join the talent community, you'll get notifications on when our new roles are posted, the internship and also our graduate roles for next year. So they will give you notifications in there, and then also just any other updates on IMC. 2025 grads would not be eligible for the internship program this coming summer, but for the 2024 internship program, you would be eligible. Sorry, these years are so confusing. But I'll post that link in. And then I guess if we just want to end it off maybe with one more question for you guys, since we have you here. Maybe, I think we touched on this in just some different points, but just to kind of sum it up, what do you guys think makes IMC or sets IMC apart from our competitors? And also, why do you guys, individually want to stay? What makes you stay at IMC? What motivates you here?
Yeah, I can start. I can start. So I think IMC has a really great culture, and I think this is something that IMC prides itself on. And a big reason of why I really want to stay at IMC, I would say it's the great culture and being able to work on really interesting problems and projects while also enjoying collaborating with the people around me. I think that something that is important to IMC is communication and collaboration between teams. And I think at some other firms, teams will be more siloed off. So different trading teams might not be able to communicate with each other, but that is definitely not the case at IMC. In fact, IMC really encourages sharing ideas between teams and working together, whether it's across international offices or with the people who sit a couple rows behind you.
Yeah, I think culture is really a great part of the reason why we choose to join IMC. And another thing is IMC is really good at what it is doing. So we are definitely one of the top trading firm market makers in the option space. So yeah, just being at one of the best companies in this field, where you can definitely learn a lot. And we also when IMC recruit new grad hires, we are more we're recruited for more a generalist role. We are not attached to a specific desk or team, so you get to learn to learn everything about the company, and you get to learn a very different fields of knowledge. And versus for some of the other trading firms, when you are recruited for a specific team or more specific roles. So yeah, just at IMC, everyone can get exposed to a lot of knowledge.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. I think that was great, and really appreciate everyone's participation during the game and for asking some good questions at the end here. Like I mentioned, so if you're interested in opportunities for next year, so whether that's our full-time roles on the technology side or trading side, or our technology or trading internship program for summer 2023, we have wrapped up recruiting for this summer, for summer 2022. So our next focus as we start recruiting in the spring here will be that 2023 internship program and those roles with 2023 start dates as well. So if you want to, keep up to date on those roles, stay in touch with IMC, feel free to join the IMC talent community, which you can find by Googling IMC talent community, or you can use that link that I dropped in the chat there. But if you have already graduated or you're graduating, this upcoming spring, we do have some full-time opportunities available for August start dates on our website as well, the graduate broker trader, graduate software engineer, and graduate systems engineer. So you guys can check those out too. Otherwise, the talent community will be your best bet. But really appreciate your guys' attention and participation. And Karen and Atsushi, that was awesome. Thank you guys so much. And feel free to get in touch with us if you have any other questions that come up. But hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Have one.